already know, it's that time of the month. What time of the month is it?
Black History Month.
Black Future Month, history, however you want to call it. So, it's family podcast, it's fashion, art, music, education, of course. We love you because we don't do hate, we don't gatekeep over here. So, now we got the man. Minor questions? Is something changing? What's going on?
No, just definitely minor questions. And when you're waving through all the questions in your mind there, you always lead to more questions. So I'm just trying to ask better questions to people to make people have better reflections. Mm-hmm. And the question I always ask whenever I think of Black History Month is how can we make Black History Month a better month for not only Black people, but just people in general. So it's a learning opportunity like how every day is. Yeah. So that's my question I always keep asking, like, does Black History Month always need to be in February? Can it be every month? Like I went to a conference in January, which was a Black Career Conference. It was amazing. I met so many fantastic people. And Daho, I'll give her a massive shout out for this. She did a great statement. 10 years ago, you would never seen so many Black people in the same room listening to be educated about from the keynote speaker. And when I got there, it was just nice to see, like, obviously, so many different types of people just interacting and communicating with one another. And what I found was a big takeaway from the conference was like the self-promotion of like, how can I enhance you? Or how can I help your value shine more? Yeah, there was a guy coming from Montreal with his mother to the conference all the way in Toronto. So it was nice. So check it out. Her organization is called the Black North Initiative. If you want to check out more of those types of details, give a promotion out there. And I just want to say thank you to her because she definitely moved me over a 40-minute speech.
40 minutes, jeez.
That was good.
All right, so then I gotta ask you, what can we do or what can be done to make I don't even want to say Black History Month. That sounds so strange.
Yeah.
What can we do to change and make this actually better and more educational? Because I'll tell you my biggest problem.
Okay,
it's not even a problem, but it's just like I don't get it. Since I was a kid, you hear about like the same 5 people every year. It's like, okay, there's a lot more people who do them a lot more things. You're talking about inventors, talking about education. You're talking about a lot more than just civil rights. You always hear about Martin. You hear about Malcolm. Yeah. You hear about Rosa Parks. There's a lot more people that did a lot more stuff. Yeah. Lately, or the last couple of years, we only hear about John Lewis because, he passed. Rest in peace. That's another guy who did a lot for us to advancement of our people. Yeah. So I just think there should be more educational classes, posts, etc. on other people, and not just the same 5 people all the time. It's like, how many times are you gonna tell us about the same people? Well, I think we know almost just about everything there is to know.
I don't know. I think we haven't asked the right questions. Being the guy among the questions, I think we just need to get the right people in front of them. Like get the Black youth to interview them, have those opportunities, create those. Interview, the people that we know, the same 5. Like, for me, like when you first posed this question to me, I'm like, okay, all right, gotta go look it up. And then you messaged me a couple days ago. You're like, did you forget, man? Did you have your 2 or 3? And I'm like, well, I haven't. So then you do your Google search, and then the top 3. Guess who my top 3 were? Barack Obama, Oprah Winfrey, and Daniel deGrasse Tyson. Can you find me 3 more that are underappreciated? And I ended up settling on 2. 2 ended up being African women that I ended up picking just to be a little bit different, to give them a little bit shine. And then I include Daho within my 3. And I know she's gonna crucify me if she does watch this episode because she made it very important to pronounce her name correctly. So I am trying to work on it. It's Dahabo. Dahabo. Okay. So Dahabo, I believe, is the correct pronunciation. So always make sure to pronounce people's names correctly.
Yeah, Dahabo or Dahabo. But it's difficult though because I can't remember all of the names. Yeah, I agree. A post came up on the other day where they were talking about famous people who people have been pronouncing their name wrong forever. Yeah. There's actually a lot more people. And sometimes it's pointless to even, as weird as it sounds, my name isn't difficult to pronounce.
Yeah, I just think of the French country or the city.
Well, you'd be surprised people still call me Pierre, Perry, Paris, and I'm just like, it's an E. How do you get A? But it came to the point where I don't even stop people anymore. It's pointless.
I know. I'll give a big shout out to my cousin. I think it's Cheryl, but I call him Cheryl. That's just how I say it. I know there's maybe not that much of a difference, but I know when you write it out, even if he does listen to this, it's the same thing. It's just I just give him up.
So there's no point.
Yeah.
I would write my name down. People say, "Oh, Pierre," and I'm just it's Perris. I don't know how you got Pierre. Yeah. I don't know how you got Paris. Paris is spelled with an A and it's 1 R. So at some point it's just forget about it.
And just keep it moving.
Yeah, let me move. I'm like,
so who would be like your first one? Seeing as you gave this task to me, it seems like you have like a lexicon or
no. I just wanted to test you one.
Thank you so much.
Because I know you don't know a whole lot more.
Well, that's fair. I'll give you.
There's actually a lot more. Like some of my favorites are like Ida B. Wells.
Yeah,
she was a journalist. She's responsible for documenting a lot of the issues and like abuse.
Yeah,
of people of color, like around the nation and all that stuff.
Gotta make sure that wasn't the person that I looked up.
Ida B. Wells? No, Ida B. Wells is cool.
Okay, good.
You got like Bell Hooks. That's author, poet, like very big in the educational system. Like there's just like a whole lot more. You got Thurgood Marshall. Thurgood Marshall, that's one of my other favorite people. AC Jennings, sorry. I don't mispronounce her name, that would be terrible too. She was the first black lady in space in 1992. She worked with NASA. She was like a specialist on the mission. So there's just a whole lot more. There's Henrietta Lacks as far as like the gene, like cells and like, study goes. There's a whole lot, man.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, I don't want to say I'm tired. It's just like, okay, I know about Malcolm. I know about, like even Rosa Parks.
Yeah. She
wasn't even the first person to refuse to give her seat. Actually, a couple of weeks ago, again, terrible memory. Forgot the name, but it was a young lady. She was like 16, so she did it. And she got in a lot of trouble, but she never really got the recognition. So Rosa Parks wasn't the first lady to do it.
Yeah, so, I can understand that. But you know how it is, it's just like the first thing, like Netflix or like, like a GoPro or like the first of something that gets recognized, like even like right now with the AI space with like ChatGPT. ChatGPT is always going to be the one that's going to be remembered first. Like, look, we have so many streaming different platforms. I know like we all want to pay for them all, but the first one that we think of when streaming platforms, Netflix. Yeah. So it's the same thing when it comes to history. Like when you're the first of anything, like I think that's also part of the problem where it's like we have the first of something, then we have to have like the first insert race, then we have to have the insert first race and gender now, and then like who's gonna.
But what do you think about that? I mean, I think it's pretty ridiculous that in 2024 there's always the first black this, the first Asian this. So we haven't get past any of that yet. We still haven't been able to get first female president of the United States.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why haven't we gotten past?
I just don't think that there's the First, I don't want to say that there isn't an opportunity. I think the opportunities are there.
Yeah.
However, I get this told a lot to me. Some people are just like, why don't you do politics? You talk well, like you're a good storyteller, or like you're a good listener, or like you understand people characters well. And I'm like,
so you're saying that's what politicians do?
Well, that's what they do at first. Yeah. Well, I think all politicians are pure at the start, but then once you get into the system shoots you and spits you out, and then like you're kind of, once again, you're a cog in the machine now. Now, for instance, to maintain peace or to make you feel like you have a sense of progress, like, hey, you want to build a park here, you got to do all these other, PR stuff that maybe doesn't fit your agenda, and maybe like you're making deals with like a company, unfortunately, that in the long run it's going to hurt the environment, but during your term that you're there, hey, I built a new park, so this is great, but 10 years later, like, wait, what's that nuclear plant doing right behind this park? Like, so there's a correlation to it all. Like I know like on the outside I'm always going to look in and see like the purity, like same thing when I look at Black History Month. The purity is we get a month where we get to recognize people of that have achieved like Black excellence, as we like to say, even though I don't even like Black excellence. I was going with like this statement the other day. It's like we have to keep like rechanging our vocabulary all the time just to have like this new hip cool word to describe something that should just be accepted. Yeah. So like that's what I don't like, is that we always have to constantly keep moving the goalposts, because sometimes words, once they hit the mainstream, they kind of get taken out of context. Like that's one of my things I don't like about Black History Month, if I had to be honest, is that it's almost over commercialized. So now that it's over commercialized, does it really mean the same thing that it used to mean? Like,
but commercialized could be good and bad.
Yeah,
because commercialized could be meaning one thing. There's spotlight, and there could also be funding.
Yeah,
or initiatives. Problem is, a lot of times, not everyone actually mean well.
Yeah,
most things are sometimes just done for optics. So now it's just like, do you really care, or do you just want to, capitalize on the market share?
Once again, I know the month's coming up. I'm going to see it February 1st. I'm going to see everyone's, what's the quota? How many posts are we supposed to make in Black History Month again?
I don't even know. I don't even know there's such a thing.
I think there is, but I'm just not aware of it. But I guess some people will hit that quota of like the post, like we're recognizing so and so, and like I did this education, and then like when February, actually this year is February 29th, so they got one extra day where they have to suffer, I guess, doing research.
Oh,
so
okay.
So yeah, so it's not so bad. So 29 days of Black History Month, so we get an extra day, so let's celebrate.
Hey, 24 hours, man. You can do a lot in 24 hours.
You can. Yeah. Well, 8 hours my sleep, so 16 extra hours. If you get your 8 hours of sleep.
Oh, I don't know if anyone sleep 8 hours these days, man.
Yeah, we try.
Life is so tough, things so hard, so hectic. It's.
But you know what you just described? You described the Black experience. There's always talking about this suffering and everything else, and then we got to persevere. We got to be resilient.
You gotta be strong.
You gotta be strong, man. You can't break, you can't show emotion, you can't cry unless it's a movie, yo. Unless it's a movie.
Not even a movie, man.
What?
We can't be times we watch a movie and someone's crying and be like, man, why are you crying, bro? I'm like, bro, he's just acting.
He's acting.
Yeah, I think society kind of puts, like, you probably seen it, maybe you didn't.
Yeah.
You're a podcast guy. Diary of CEO.
Yes, I have.
Did you see the Henri?
Bro, I watched that interview 3 times since all my Thierry Henry fans. Let me hear it.
Just the line. It's hard to be a man.
Yes.
That is what it's as simple as that line is. It speaks a lot of volume. It is extremely difficult. Like you always hear, and please don't get this misconstrued or messed up. Like with the whole, I'm not with the whole man versus woman thing. We gotta stop. That's another thing we gotta stop.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's only predominantly used in our community.
Yes, it is.
This versus this. Like, why can't we just exist? Why do we always have to be? It's like I come up with a rap song. Yeah, the game better than Kendrick. Who said I was better than Kendrick? I say that, and even if I said that, why do we have to be against it? Why can't we just coexist? There's enough money, there's enough time, there's enough space, there's enough bandwidth, there's enough audience, there's enough of everything.
Mm-hmm.
What is with this plantation type mentality where we always gotta be competing? Like, I don't understand it.
I'm looking at right now, my dad now, he's outlived Pele. Pele passed away, I think, at 81. My dad now is turning like 83, I think, this year of recording. For
Pele was old.
Yeah, and Pele won 3 World Cups, but my dad's still around.
Yeah.
I mean, so, yeah, he's still doing his best, he's kicking it and everything else, but, like, when I look at that time span, I'm like, he, like, lived maybe, like, in the early stages.
But here's the thing, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit of a disrespect, it's a disrespect. Like, first of all, I don't like when I hear someone compare something. Oh man, I gotta do that. Oh, it's like slavery. Really? You have no clue what that was like. Yeah. You don't want to know. So don't even disrespect my ancestors by saying something is like. Just because you gotta do an extra something. Like, you can complain to someone. Yeah. You have a choice to not do it.
That's what journalists for.
They have absolutely no right to say a voice, absolutely nothing. So let's get past it. But the other thing being is, that was so long ago. Okay. Well, imagine if 5 generations ago, 10 generations ago, wow, you were not allowed to read.
That's wild. And to think now that you're in a generation now that's capable of reading said book, and you take it for granted now.
Not even capable. The top graduates right now currently are females, particularly Black females.
Yeah.
Mostly around like the Nigerian, for graduates and all that stuff. Like, think it might seem simple. We might take it for granted.
We do, definitely.
But about 100 years ago, still, slavery was done. But we forgot about the Jim Crow era. Like, you forgot about segregation. So it's not just 400 years. It's 400 years plus years of oppression. Like, all through the 60s, 70s, like, even up to the 90s, there were still people doing a lot of this stuff.
That is true.
How long ago was it? 90s? Almost like 30 years ago. So it's system after system, but yet, like their saying goes, yet we persevered. Yeah. So it's not about like, it was so long. Yeah, it wasn't a long time ago, but there's a lot of stuff that came with that. Like, imagine starting from zero. Yeah, okay, you're no longer a slave. All right, where do you go? You weren't allowed to read. You weren't allowed to even speak your mother tongue.
I'm trying to think about this, actually.
You can't go back home. You don't even know where you came from. The only family you know is probably who survived. I can't even say grew up. because a lot of people died.
Yeah, it's true. Taking the boats or taking whatever form of transportation.
Yeah, or even just
and we
on that plantation.
And we maybe saw a recent glimpse of that, like going back to the Middle East. I remember a video, I think it was like sometime last year, of like people just trying to hop onto like a plane, and they were trying to hop onto the wing. So just imagine that now as a visual image, and maybe you could put it in black and white if you can't imagine back then, but like just on a boat. And like,
I hate that too.
Yeah.
It's like every picture you see of Martin Luther King is black and white. Man, they had color TVs and stuff.
Yeah.
They didn't have color cameras then.
I don't know his complexion back then.
And that's another thing too.
Yeah.
Now, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Google it. But there are color.
Yeah. Yeah, there is.
You know, but again, that's part of the issue.
Mm-hmm.
If you put everything in black and white automatically, it was so long ago, man, it's ancient.
Well, yeah, I think
that was only in 1960.
But I think that's part of the reprogramming. Like I said, like
Martha, I believe Malcolm X died in 75.
Yeah.
Like, 10 years later.
Yeah.
How long ago was that? Come on.
Yeah, you can put it in color, definitely, for sure. I just think it was just like a tactic, like, you know, like if you want to do your certain presentation a certain way, like with representation, like today, I like to say like the colors that I've chosen have been black and purple, because purple is the color of royalty. So when I think of, you know, black culture, I think of it as that form of royalty in that sense, because like you have a heritage of how you carry yourself. Yeah. And once again, it's just all about existence. That's all I ask for. That's all I want to do. I don't mean no harm towards other people. I'm just a man with a bunch of questions that can never seem to make a podcast unless it's with you. But who knows? 2024 could be the difference maker, because I have told
people. Could be a difference.
It could be. I don't know what 2024 has in store. I know what I want to do if I get to go by my plan of 2024.
1861.
1861?
Colored photo. Let me tell you something. Next time
it was strategic. It was strategic.
Next time you see Martin Luther King and Malcolm X in black and white, stop saying it was so long ago. It was only like 45, 50 years ago.
At least go to page 3.
Yeah, 60 years ago. My math is, it's the end of the day. Sorry, my brain is in there.
And it's okay.
So, color photo was invented in 1861. 1861. I'm just saying.
Okay, that's fine. So, I'll round back to the Thierry Henry interview, because we can easily cover. We can go on for hours, but I want to keep this short, efficient, you know, jam packed for the audience. My 2 people that I looked up, so I can at least pass the test with a 50 from you, is Lonnie G. Johnson. So she was born in 1949, same year as my dad, which is amazing. She was an inventor and an engineer. She's best known for inventing the Super Soaker water gun. Yeah. She was a former NASA engineer, and she holded over like 100 patents. Inventions include a highly efficient patents. Thank you. Inventions including a highly efficient thermal electrical generator and technology used in NASA. It seems like you already know this, but the audience doesn't. And she just focused on developing like eco-friendly power source. Okay.
99.
I got the word.
1902.
This is how you pronounce it. Ophthalmologist. There you go. I learned a new word today. Can I spell it? Can I use it in a sentence? Next time. But she invented the laser phaso probe, revolutionized the treatment for like the cataract. So she was the first African American female doctor to receive a medical patent. And she co-founded the American Institution for the Prevention of Blindness. So she's like dedicated to like endlessly ending the prevention of blindness. I know, for instance, that's something that my dad's going through right now with his cataract, and that's usually done with like diabetes and everything else. And then like your vision kind of becomes blurry. So like right now I see clearly, but imagine now my left eye kind of started to become like foggy in that type of sense, and then like that prevents you from being able to drive. So you know what? Just want to say thank you to those 2 lovely young African American women for leaving such a legacy on our culture. And Paris, did I pass?
Yeah, I'll give you this one.
Yes.
Don't forget, on the way here, you gotta thank Mr. Garrett A. Morrison
for
stoplight.
Thank you.
Actually, he witnessed an accident, and then that actually inspired him to create the first stoplights. And that in 1923.
Yeah.
I believe. So he actually got 2 patents. I believe the other one was while rescuing some individuals from a disaster. He created like it was like a dust like hood or something.
Yeah.
A respiratory. So that's another triple OG right there. So yeah, there's a lot of people. The remote control, I don't remember his name. Remote control was actually invented by a black inventor, I believe toothpaste as well.
Yeah.
Little off topic.
Yeah.
Sex toys. First one,
Fair.
actually, I think it was like a Dominican.
Yeah.
Dominican or Grenadian, I believe.
Ooh, Grenadian. Shout out to my dad's origin.
Yeah, so there's another amazing, they also have a podcast as well.
Yeah.
But
what's the name of it? Give them a fair shout out.
There's a page on Instagram called Know Your Caribbean.
Know Your Caribbean?
That's definitely one of those pages I encourage anyone to follow because they give a lot of good information. Go to the page and you can see that it's more for educational purposes. History about different islands.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they'll talk about how, like Martin Luther King enjoyed Jamaica first time when he went there. They're talking about like Marcus Garvey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that Marcus Garvey might be my number one pick for someone who is completely, I want to say almost unrecognized.
Okay.
Because single-handedly and together with the help of the individuals, like he created political party, like he created movements in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about the early, like 1900s.
Mm-hmm.
And he was able to become such an amazing businessman that he went overseas.
Yeah.
And again, you're talking about the still time of cotton fields and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
And he was able to not only inspire but start parties,
Mm-hmm.
movements, and create the Black Star Line. So
Yeah.
that was a own shipping company.
Really?
Fleets of ships. And he was doing this from here trading between the Caribbean, America, Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was the first person to actually give or inspire a movement or a town.
Yeah.
Like the Tulsa,
Mm-hmm.
the Black Wall Street. It's like, hey, you're a person, you're a man, you're a woman.
Mm-hmm.
You deserve to wear nice things, you deserve to own things, and he almost never gets mentioned.
I see.
Ever. Now, if you look at Elijah Muhammad and what he did with the Muslims and the movement, they have their own paper, their own military, literally everything.
Yeah.
All that started because of Garvey. And yet, you still don't really hear it. He's never get mentioned in the top 5.
Okay. All right. So
Bob Marley's more famous than Marcus Garvey. Now, I love Bob Marley and what he's done and everything.
music reaches more people.
But when you really think about it, to the fact that he never even gets mentioned, I think it's wild.
Hey, you know what, man?
Civil rights movement, all of that was inspired because of a guy like that. He was literally the first one to start bringing together people from all over the world and start doing trades.
Mm-hmm.
He had fleets of ships. The black men in those times owning
Like fleets and ships.
fleets of ships, trading, going back and forth between Ghana and all that. So the Black Star Line, and I believe that's why Ghana has the Black Star. And that's where it came from, because that was the name of the company.
Wow.
And I just think it's crazy no one ever mentions him at all.
Sometimes in the history, you leave a mark on people and you're able to be remembered for like 200 years. And sometimes, what you think that you leave as a legacy, you're only going to be remembered for maybe a day, maybe a week,
Sure.
So it's up to people to continue to do their history. I definitely think that's really important, but it's also about doing the work. And it's one thing that I realized something recently when I was discussing it with like a couple friends where it's just like, I'm happy that we're having this mental health discussion and everything else. And I know the Black community is usually one of the more affected by Black and probably like the mental health problems.
Yeah.
I think, and this maybe will answer your question about why there's such a big competition, but I don't think that there's enough Black mentorship. So Black mentorship in the sense of promoting one another or having them think for their future.
Yeah.
Usually it's like people such as yourself doing things on their own, like, hey, I have an interest in all this, and then learning how to, do camera, do setup, do recording, do everything else, asking the right questions and everything else. And sometimes that can feel very isolating and can feel like very alone.
Oh, yeah.
So thus, I think being able to create mentorship-like programs to allow people to pursue or at least be able to explore these different avenues, I think are really great. One organization I'm looking forward to joining later this year, and you have it on recording now, is the Black Founders Network, which I met at that BCC organization.
So you didn't tell me nothing, man?
Yeah. Black community.
Here's this guy talking about, empower, black community.
And you know now. So organizations to be a part of, so he's dropping all the history for, at least in my area, at least, is the Black Ties. They're a recent program organization. They're just underneath 1,000 members or so. But it's a Black network of Black professionals as well, where you can connect with. Black Founders Network, you can volunteer for different events across Toronto, more or less, is like the area. So,
Yeah. But I invited you to that Black Men Style.
Black Men Style, I couldn't make that one. That one I wanted to
They always have like 2 or 3 like events a year.
Yeah.
Some great stuff. Like last time they had the yoga one. I couldn't make it to that one. And they got like the suit and tie where everyone's come dressed fresh, like just networking.
Yeah.
So the thing is, there is, but it's not that easy to find. You gotta search. Like, Black in tech, like there's groups actually, you know, corporate CEO, individual, Blackpodcasters, you know, like.
But you gotta dig, and you know the funny thing is, like I think about it sometimes. It's like, oh, I'm gonna look up, and I type black, and then you insert whatever word you need afterwards, and then it's like, really, like this is all that we have, and like you have to dig further than that. Yeah. So like I think for a lot of people, it's like that iceberg effect. It's just like, oh, I can find groups. You just type in black and type in the word, and I'll find all the groups listed. It's like it's not that easy. And what I'll say is this. I applaud groups that try to move away with having to have the word black. I understand that, like, I want to take ownership of the word black whenever, like, I'm saying said podcast, but it's not like I'm naming my podcast, like, black on Mind the Questions. Like, it's just, I want to just have, like, you know, I'd be, like, sticking black in front of it. I don't want to get stuck in that niche, but also I feel like with Black History Month, we're trying to break out of that niche, if that makes sense. Yeah. So, I guess to wrap it up with my mental health like rant over here is like, I think we need more coaches, not so much therapists. Therapists, don't get me wrong, will heal from our past, we'll learn from our past.
No, you need therapists as well.
I know, but what I'm just saying is for a lot of us, the problem is sometimes when you get lost, like we're lost right now. Some of us are lost, I should say. So to go see a therapist, which some of us do need to go see, like, you know, you'll make the judgment call at the end of the day. Yeah. But I feel sometimes that you can go too much into your past, and then all of a sudden, like, you're lost so much in your past that you don't really have a plan to make and shape a future. So if you're going to go with a therapist, I'd also suggest that you get a coach. So that way then you have a balance of like, I'm looking at the past this week, and then next week my coach is helping me look in the future. So then like there's a natural progression. I think right now you got to go all the way. You got to me, it doesn't make any sense if you start halfway. That's fair. So you still have to go all the way back, because one thing I could say, I've had this argument a few times with some people. Like me. Probably. Something may seem very minuscule, like unimportant to you. Yeah. But it could mean a big difference to someone else. Oh yeah, 100%. Just because you don't believe in something doesn't mean someone else should. Just because you think this way. Like for instance, one of my good friends, Devon. Yeah. He doesn't believe in anything like supernatural. Like he doesn't believe in God and stuff like that. It's not that he's an atheist, but he's like, I've been reading the Bible since, and he loves reading. That guy reads hundreds of books. I can't believe 3,000 books. Damn. 3,000 books. Shut up, cat. Do you see that interview? I missed that. Well, I've caught snippets. You gotta watch that, man. No, I'm not watching that until like 2.5 hours. I couldn't move, man. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a real. It was like a stand-up / roasting. It was everything in one. That was fire. Okay, 48 million in like 2 days. Like killed it. Anyways. Yeah. I know. You know, we gotta stop this thing where it's just like, I can even just really bring Kat up. I love Tiffany. I like Tiffany Haddish. I like what she does. I like her life story, where she came from, where she brought herself to. The fact that she didn't just make it and just make it. She reached back, gave others a shot, bring them on tour, such and such. Could I tell you one Tiffany Haddish joke? No. Probably not. Do I think she's really funny? No. Really? But I don't think she's funny, but I have respect for her. That's true. We gotta stop with this thing too, where it's just like, if you don't think someone is funny, like now this whole thing about, Kevin Hart funny. I don't think he's that funny anymore. Yeah. But it doesn't mean I dislike the guy. That's true. You know? Like Nas is my favorite artist. I can say I didn't like the last Nas album. Doesn't mean I don't like the guy. He's my favorite artist, but doesn't mean I can't dislike something. I don't have to like everything. What are you laughing? No. One thing about me, I try to not be biased at all. That's true, I'll give you that. So, it's like, you're allowed to dislike something that someone does. It's like you saying, Donald Glover never made a bad song. Hasn't. See, that's stupidness right there. Loyal OG fan, man. It doesn't have anything to do with loyalty. Yeah. And that brings me to the point. Okay. I find, especially with us, we kind of have that thing about us where it's just like, oh, you did this? Oh, this album wasn't good? And I just throw them away. It's like, what is up with that? Like, we don't value one another that much. Okay, maybe he was going through some stuff. Maybe to him in the booth, he was spitting fire. But it just didn't come off. And besides, you're a consumer. Yeah.
You know, you're allowed to like or dislike something.
You're allowed to
He doesn't go in there thinking, oh man, I need to hit this high note because if you don't, Julian's gonna be mad. Like he doesn't he doesn't know you exist.
Yo, he knows I exist, man. He delivered in Toronto and
he thanks you for your support. But he doesn't know you exist to the point where he has to hit this note this way. Because guess what? If he hit the note another way, you wouldn't have known anyways.
Yeah, no, I'm not like the fans that are like wanting his like unofficial release tracks. By the way, he's apparently supposed to drop an album this year, so I'm looking forward to the possibility of him dropping an album. But also check out Mr. and Mrs. Smith on Prime, because I'm a Donald Glover fan, so I have to promote all this stuff because I'm a supporter.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith, what's that?
It's a re-parody of an action comedy where I believe that they're spies. So it was like a movie back in like the 2000s. Yeah, but now it's a black and Asian lead. Black lead being Donald Glover. So yeah, got support. I'll watch it probably later this year. Not right away. Don't want to be part of the hype, you know. You know me.
You lied. You probably bought it, pre-ordered it, and everything.
Yep, and it's on Prime. Okay, so
I won't even get Prime to get his packages. Like, I mean, but again, I guess that's support. So supporting the brother. So like, I can't hate there.
Thanks. Much appreciated. What I like is that he's just like, and originally when he asked me that question, I wanted to put him in that list of.
And you could have.
I could have. I know.
Because honestly, when I said 90 and up, it's because I didn't want the whole like civil race thing. There's a lot more people dead. I was actually going to say one of my people would have been Jay-Z.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because to come from where he came from, circumstances, to be able to not only become a billionaire, that's actually minuscule. Become a father figure.
50 Cent even too.
A businessman, 50 Cent as well.
Yeah.
50 may do some stuff that people may dislike or whatever, but when it comes to business, that guy is very intelligent. He knows how to market.
Yeah. And he had
maybe tactics, maybe a little risky, but he gets the job done. End of the day, what you need is results. And then when he gets the result, it's not just him. It's who wants to work. You want to work, you want to grind, you with me, let's go. I can't complain about anyone about something like that at all.
It's true.
You know, from Jay-Z, you look at, because if you think about it, he came and he had a rap world like this.
Yeah.
He could have just made how much ever more albums. He could have had all the, he could have had all his artists.
It's true.
Write him songs. He continued to be the top guy.
Yeah.
But instead, he brought his group. No. Banks is the only one who's still around actively in music. Yo, I think he's in film and stuff like that, so because Yo's still working. Like, he's a writer. Yeah. But really and truly, if you think about it, a lot of times those guys kind of fell off a bit because they kind of only wanted to stick one way. And sometimes that's not even their fault. It's just sometimes it's exposure, sometimes it's just that's just how far they can see.
Yeah, but sometimes I think people are supposed to get as far as they're supposed to, so that way then other people can overcome them.
True.
So like for instance, like right now what we've witnessed with like hip hop culture to where we are now, where people can like self-promote for themselves and like you know, we're talking about masters, like I thank obviously the forefathers that have paved this way to get us to this point. But at the same time, once again, I go back to my point about mentorship. I just don't think our culture has that like built into it. I don't know if it's like a separation from generation upon generation upon generation living in the same house, thus like losing wisdom. I think I mentioned it before.
That's huge.
I think now obviously I have a chocolate bar in my hand called a cell phone where we can just like dial and look up anything. We've looked up several different stuff. Yeah. So like this is our form of wisdom, but now we have to use our, you know, our self-judgment to be like honest about like, hey, is this information true? Is it real? Like, did I actually go to a trustworthy source? It can't be Wikipedia all the time.
Yeah.
So it's just things like that. But I wanted to get back because you mentioned something earlier about the Darius CEO Thierry on the interview. I'm glad because I don't think I sent that to you. I'm glad that you just went out of your way to go find it because my thing is
I follow this stuff.
No, I know you follow it, but like how I word this, like the same way how you were talking about the Cat Williams interview and how excited you were and you were like, yo, did you watch it? And I'm like, that's how I was with the Thierry Henry video. And what I've almost had to recently start trying to do is like kind of like taper back my like excitement for it. I want to wait till someone else mentions it because like everyone knows I love Thierry.
Right, it's not making it better.
No, well, for me, I want to give it time because, for instance, like when that interview dropped, obviously I watched it day of, so like consumed it, everything else, and then the next thing you want to do is you want to go discuss with other people. You want to go rewatch it, see some tidbits that you missed, everything else. But for me, where I realize where my joy is having the conversation with people. But you know, because time's so limited for everybody, you know. I can't expect you got work, got family, got everything else. Then like, what? This here already interviews like 2 hours. I gotta go watch Cat Williams because that's 2 hours of where I get to laugh.
No, it's not even about the laugh, and that's the thing. It's like listen to Dave Chappelle, or Chris Rock, George Carlin, Jerry Seinfeld, like it's jokes, but if you really listen, it's more lessons.
Oh yeah,
it's the art of storytelling and just making it funny. And that's what I love about those guys. And Cat is exactly the same. Like if you really listen to him, he's a very highly intelligent guy.
Oh, 100%.
He drops a lot of stuff. Some of it may sound be like, man.
You look at him and you think that like, yo, you whack. But like my thing is, and this is the one thing that I appreciate with him, Cat has this massively like overlap with my favorite podcaster, Jordan Harbinger.
Yeah.
All about document, or the way how Cat put it, receipts.
You need receipts, man.
No, you definitely need receipts.
People these days are just, a lot of people just try to look good or take credit for stuff, and it's just like, you know what? And that's why I have such a hard time with like accusations, because I've had a lot of issues with that. With, like friends or whatever. It's like you can call me trash, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can down me forever for something I did. That's cool.
Yeah.
When it comes to accusations, man, or just making stuff up to look good, I don't like people who do things for optics at all.
No, I agree.
That's one thing that actually kind of really irritates me, because it's like, you don't need to do that.
You don't.
So these days, well, you always should have, but these days especially, you gotta keep receipts.
You do.
Because a lot of times too, is as long as someone says something, people will just run with it. They have no clue. But it's, yeah, he did that. Were you there?
No.
Did you see it on video or the tape? Even if you see it on video, it could have been AI. See what I mean? So
yeah, that's how it is now.
For sure. And then now it just comes down to, okay, you want to keep messing with me? Do I have to take you to court for defamation? So it could get nasty.
It definitely will, probably.
And it's like a lot of people they're just on the internet sometimes bored, just looking for someone to agree with.
Yeah.
What can I get upset about today?
Yeah, because
you don't like ketchup. You know what I mean? Like,
I love mustard.
You're not right. Something's wrong with you. And there's some people who actually now argue to the point where it's human that they could possibly even get into a fight, start calling people out their names. And it's just like, man, it is not that.
No, but you know what I want to know? I want to know how they feel after that, where they're like, man, that was great. What am I gonna have for dinner? Like, I wonder what their life is like after that. Like after they're done the trolling, they're like, man, I showed that guy 466-222 buzzword. Whatever.
I told him.
Yeah.
You know they're talking about that on the dinner table.
Really?
Today I had to tell this guy off. What an idiot.
Well, I actually had that recently. I think, and I don't even understand, but I guess this is just the culture. But a friend of a friend, his wife apparently got said person at work removed. And they celebrated, and I'm like, "Is that a thing?" I just don't know, because like,
as much as you may have an issue with someone in the workspace, someone losing a job is never.
It's not like I remember I've experienced a layoff once in my life. Like it was pre-COVID times, but it was just like it was funny. Like there was one guy, I'll never forget his face.
Did they do something? Like,
they gave
how where they?
No, it was like a 90-day. Like it was the organization was moving in a different direction. They were going to move people, and I was part of those said layoffs. But like
the person who celebrated.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't ask. It was just like I overheard it. And I was just thinking to myself like, what would I look like if I was celebrating that? Like imagine like okay like. I don't know, March 1st comes around and there's those people like, yeah, Black History Month's over, man. Now, what's next? Oh, March break? Where am I gonna go take my kids? Like, I hit 29 posts this month. Like, I don't know, but now I'm gonna look back at this and be like, man, why did I do that whole different reaction? So now I'm gonna inspire some other person to go do this now. Cut it, please.
I think honestly, everyone should do. It doesn't have to be a podcast. I think everyone should do.
I agree.
Journaling of some sort. Whether that is voice, whether that is video, or writing. Because I can definitely tell you for sure, there's a huge disconnect between generations, especially for us. And that happened by force because of whatever. Over time, we've also done it to one another as well. But it kind of like almost like that's a skill we have to try.
Yeah,
so
I'm gonna say
sharing information has always kind of been tough type of thing. So, and this is coming from two kids, Caribbean parents or from the Caribbean, whatever. it's almost like twice when you add that piece in.
Yeah.
It's like you can't ask a question. If you ask, you're rude. If you challenge anything, you're disrespectful. And it comes down to, well, wait a minute. You told me when I go to school,
Be curious, ask questions.
Be curious, ask questions. But when it's you, it's wrong.
Yeah.
You told me if I go to school and they tell me something, I'm like, doesn't even make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Or I just don't understand. It's their job as a teacher to try and find a way to explain it to me so that I can actually comprehend it.
Yeah.
And generally, teachers will make an effort too. Whereas you may ask your parent something, and if you tell you once and you don't get it, like you almost get upset that you don't get it.
Yeah, that's quick as me. And you see, and that's the tricky part. Thierry Henry dealt with that. I just recall when he was with Montreal Impact. I'll end it with this. The late, great Kobe Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
Love him to death. And the reason why I love him to death is because, similar to yourself here, he cares about every single detail. There was an interview I was watching. It was one of his books. I think it was about being like a young sports athlete. So he was considering it for his daughters in this regard. I'm paraphrasing it, and I highly encourage you guys to seek it out. But the way how he was showcasing the book to the interviewer, Jordan Harbinger, because it was on his podcast, he gave him the book, and the book felt like actual AstroTurf. Yeah. And he cared about even the detail with the barcode fitting in with like the pricing and like, the usual like legislations of what you have to like fit in like when publishing a book. Yeah. But he cared about every minute detail regarding that book, that when like you as a parent pick up that book, it's like, I used to play soccer on this. Maybe my kid would like this. My kid picks this up. It's like, So like having that level of understanding of like the end product to somebody, I think is extremely crucial. Yeah. And that's something that like I'll always keep from Kobe Bryant. I know like he's not here with us, but like his ability to change his mental state and take inspiration from different things. That's why sometimes like when people like would joke with me, it's like, how are those two things connected, man? Like how would you think of that? Yeah. I'm like, well, that's just what I'm trying to do. I'm always trying to find two things that have no correlation with one another and try to bring them together. And that's kind of the gift with comedy as well, with storytelling, I find.
But you see, something like that's thinking generational, as simple as it is. Mm-hmm. Now, unfortunately, he's not here. Now, it's up to his kids and his wife to carry on his legacy and his legacy. Now,
and the fans.
And the fans. Now, I'm thinking more of like family ones.
Yeah, I know you are.
His children may have children.
Yes.
But they'll never meet him. But just holding that book, it's almost like a teleportation device.
Yes, it is.
You can touch it, you can feel it, he used to play basketball. This is what the ground felt like. Simple things like that. Yeah. So for instance, one of the business podcasts said, folks, earn your leisure, you like to shout every time. Yeah. One of the guys on there, he was saying, what I do is I always think generational, because that's what almost everyone who created wealth does. Yeah. And he said, one of the things I do is I handwrite letters. Because someday my great-grandchild probably won't meet me. Unlikely. But he has money, he has trust, all that stuff. Yeah. Real estate, whatever. As long as my kids don't mess it up. Or my grandkids. But you can put stuff in place anyway, so it's protected. We said, but really and truly, the reason why I do it is because I want them to be able to read that someday when they get to a certain age. And then they get their money or whatever. It's not just getting the money. It's them getting something like personally from me. That's true. They can see my handwriting. They can see how you do your see how I was thinking. Yeah. And most importantly, they can realize I was thinking of you that far ahead. Yeah, that's crazy, man. It's like a tree when you plant a tree, for instance, and then like several generations afterwards, they get to see it and get to sit underneath it. It's like like a coconut or mango tree. I'm gonna plant one down in my yard, but I might never get coconut from it. Or my son or his kid might bear fruit at that time. The ultimate form of like delayed gratification. That's and so that's why I think we need to start figuring out, like, because you're looking at it in the music business and the sport business, there's very few people that have transcended past just an athlete or whatever. Like, see, over 60% of athletes go broke after earning millions of dollars, and it's just well, you probably say, well, how? Well, how not? I'm trying to support education. I'm trying to support everyone, but like my thing is like we're all stuck in the now. First generational man or first person that's a money. And you're 19 or 18 or you gotta enjoy life, you gotta buy stuff. Eventually, women athletes are gonna get there not too long from now, and then we're gonna hear the same thing over again. So like, for when I look at that, I know we've been talking to Jordy about Black. Women are a little bit more mature. I'm positive when it comes to money. So I would be definitely interested to see what happens. That does. Generally, women are a little bit more They're more about, well, I gotta take care of this, I gotta take care of that. I think women are a little bit more better.
It's not that I don't think that they won't, like, I wholeheartedly agree with everything that you stated, and I also am curious to see how it goes, but I just wanted to say that statement right now because I remember writing it in the paper back in my program for it, where I was like, women's sports was going to be the second boom. So right now, if women's sports are if we're trying to gain equality, eventually they're going to make millions of dollars playing sports. So
I don't want to say, sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't like the word equality.
I don't like it either.
Just do.
Yeah, I like that. I like existing.
Because there's no such thing as equality. Like, there will never be any such thing as equality, unfortunately. We can say what we want, but there's no such thing as equality. Women offer such certain things men can never.
Yeah, but do you think
certain things men can never?
I'll flip the question, because in that case there, do you think equality will ever be achieved then for races that feel like oppress them? Because I also feel, when I'm looking at it from like an ethnicity standpoint, regardless of that, I don't think equality will ever truly, like, the gap will ever be closed in that as well. But I would like it to be, but it's the same thing as well when I'm looking. I know specifically the first stage.
When you say closed, what do you mean? Like, in what way?
Like, let's say the magic number was like, the average was like 2 million and we're currently at 500,000.
Are you talking about numbers wise?
Yeah, number wise, or like a feeling of like, okay, like, one generation is always going to be ahead of another generation because it was built off the back of a generation that didn't get the benefits of that. So thus that gap will never technically ever be closed unless like that generation ends, like a streak. So let's say like that generation streak ends at 20 and the generation that's trying to catch up that's only at 5. In 15 generations will finally be equal. But that generation that stopped at 20 obviously would cease to exist. If that makes sense.
I think it's going to be equal. I just think, one, the people with the information, the people with wealth and opportunity, need to share. It's like, I'm a brilliant guy. Listening to interviews, stuff he says, you're like, but he was always futuristic.
That's true, generational thinking.
He was a generational thinker. He's like, we gotta get our business in order, and we gotta share the codes. We gotta share the keys. Too many people are in a position, and I kind of take you back to that like plantation mentality. I'm the only one. I have this. I have that. I won't do this for you. I won't help you out. You know, it's like I need to be the only guy with a nice car. I have to be the only guy with the biggest chain or something. It's just like stupid. It
served its purpose for what its time is, but unfortunately, that type of mindset hasn't been shown. No, I think it has. I think it served its purpose, and now where a lot of people are trying to get at is like people just. Once again, I'm just going to go back to the proper E word that I like to use. It's just people want to exist. People, that's why I can see a lot of people are just interested in a lot of different things. But my thing is people need to learn to exist with one another, I think is the missing part of that statement, and learning to find a way to have fun along the way. As a Black community, I think we're at our best when we're having fun. Once again, next time, I will invite you to that conference. I apologize.
No, it's not. No, and I like what you just said there.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons people are always like, oh, come meet outside. Like, first of all, I don't really have much interest in being outside.
Yeah, fair.
There is not much for me outside. I don't drink, I don't smoke. I'm definitely not going to be doing a hookah lounge. Not chasing after women. I'm not a big crowd person. Yeah, it's true. I don't like attention. And that was before COVID too. That was before. I've been social distance since before it was a thing. Okay, trendsetter. I've been a homebody before people started hashtag homebody. Y'all need to pay me some money for that. Okay, I'm not a big fan of it. I don't like attention. I don't like being in a crowd. It's just not me. So people are like, oh, yo, we're outside. I'm like, cool. I'll see you on Instagram outside. Now, that's fair. I'm not a show person. I don't like to be in the spotlight. It's just not my thing. It's just naturally, it's just not me at all. It's not something I'm interested in. Yeah. And generally, I don't like to do things I'm not really interested in. At my last job, people were like, oh, you don't drink coffee? How come? Like, I don't have a reason to. I don't like taste. It doesn't really do anything for me. Oh, you're going to be a coffee drinker soon. Why? Because everyone's doing it. Yeah, you don't amalgamate, and I think that's one of your greatest strengths. I definitely will give you that. Is that? Yeah, I'm just not interested in something I'm not interested in. If it doesn't benefit me, I'm not. The problem, one of the things I do find with us, especially, is we always good at coming together to have fun and chill, but not to execute and do certain things. I agree. Like, you see everyone else come together, open a little spot, or one person open a spot, everyone goes support. I just think we're terrible at supporting one another at a high level for too long and too many times. And that's one of the things where we will never be equal or really get, like, there's a few. There's a lot more billionaires than used to be, but I mean, there's still like a dozen? Yeah. That's not a lot. There's a lot more than it was. Yeah, but there's some representation there. And
That's good.
And that's one of the reasons why I was going to pick Jay-Z as one of the people, because not only because of where you come, whatever. From his street, Kanye may be some foolishness at times, see some ridiculous, reckless stuff, but from Jay-Z's street came a billion.
It's true.
Dame Dash, I don't know how much the top money he ever made, but he became a mogul at the age of 25.
Yeah.
From Jay-Z's street became Rihanna, billionaire, mother, entrepreneur. Then comes J. Cole. He may not be a billionaire or close to it, but for the amount of...
He has the influence of a billionaire.
He has the influence and the amount of things that he's done, and he started his own group of people where people have branched out to being successful.
That's good.
So you can see the influence in what he has done
generationally.
And he didn't just do it in music. He went to, sports. He did it in spirits. We're talking about entrepreneurship in general. Now with the prison reform, helping a lot of people come home.
It's true.
Like, that's someone you can see, but yet you see someone go, oh, Jay-Z didn't do nothing for the black community. And you're like, what did you do? When was the last time you bailed someone out of prison?
It's true.
When is the last time you wrote a letter and showed up in court to try and get someone from having an unfair sentence handed down to them so they can be home with their family?
Yeah. I think what it is once again, I think if you were in Jay-Z's position based off of how you described yourself, I don't think you would like all the attention or the media publicity. So he
doesn't either.
No, I know that, but it's kind of productive. But it's just like the way how your personality and the way how you want to live your life, and you want this community uprising to happen. You almost need to be face your fear or be in an uncomfortable situation of being in public for a moment. I'm not saying like forever, but for a moment.
And that's the thing. You have to know when you need to be outside. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
But that's the thing. What I want to do and what I'm interested in, I don't need to be outside. When I'm outside, I do what I need to do. And I'm in. Like, I'm not just outside aimlessly.
That's true, I know.
Especially these days, man. You can't even go anywhere without having to look over your shoulder. I don't like that feeling.
I don't like that feeling either.
You go somewhere to have a good time, chill. This person got a problem with this person. If you guys have a problem, go in the back, scuffle it up, whoever come out with a beat up face or whatever. You know what I mean? Like back in the day. I'm not trying to sound like an old guy, but
you're what you gotta do.
These days now, people are afraid to get a beating. What are you gonna do? You gotta bring weapons. You gotta bring 25 guys. So now everybody's there just trying to enjoy themselves. And you're just messing it up. You're out here letting off shots randomly.
Black culture is described as just like a form of entertainment. Like there was, I unfortunately recall they were at a restaurant, shooting happens, everyone's going down, and the person's just out there and he's just recording like this. And the joke was that like, oh, like, there's a shooting happening outside, but he's got two baddies by them. So he's just trying to like record like this by the baddies afterwards. And like then there was a second passing shooting, and like the first instinct thing that happened for me was like I laughed. And like that's the thing that I hope the generation after me can change that point of existing and being able to empower and try to help other people. Like I'm not gonna ever forget that end of the speech that Daho spoke. I'll send it to you afterwards as well too, but the way I just look at it was just like I see me in her, and then what's the goal of her speech. She wrote her speech on the day of the conference. She didn't pre-script write it and everything else, so it was just little personal touches. And one little thing that I really admire about her is she's really good at making you feel like $1 million. But as well, she's a really good introvert of turning off her presence. And I think that's something that we all need to get a bit more in touch with. Because for me, I struggle with it. Like I'm a very loud presence. Like it's almost like someone broke my off switch. So sometimes when I want to be maybe like how you are moving out in the world, like you can just kind of go from point A to point B and no one bugs you, even though you have headphones on. I have headphones in, but for whatever reason.
No, man, you got messed up.
No, but like I feel like you have better control of doing it. It maybe still happens to you.
Yeah.
But for me, going from point A to point B, I got Susan, I got John. It's like, yo, I'm just wearing a yellow jacket just because I don't want to get hit by a car. Because you know how people are driving like this nowadays and everything else. I want to get hit. So that's the only reason. But I feel like there's a lot of people out there that are just really good at just being silent, know how to move the world, and that's something that I'm hoping to learn in the next decade. Just like control my energy, so that way I can just enjoy. If I do go outside a bit more, then
it can't be too accessible, man. When you become too accessible, first of all, you get accustomed. You get like, it's just there. Like, you gotta be one of those people where when you come out, people like to be around your present love. When you come out, it's good vibes. It's not too often, but because you're doing this work. And that's another reason. That's why I admire Jay-Z for a lot of reasons.
Agreed. Tom does the same thing too.
Exactly. You don't see or hear anything about the guy until he comes out. And I heard Denzel say that. It's like, why do you need to be outside all the time? You don't need to be.
It's true.
You only hear about Leonardo DiCaprio when he makes a movie.
It's true.
But you're like, he's such a mythical kind of guy. Mysterious. You gotta go see it. Because one, you know it's good. You know he's gonna kill it. You know he went all out for the role. And most importantly, you don't see him often. So you appreciate when he does something.
Yeah.
Donald Glover, same thing. The guy you see he's on the Shade Room or whatever every 2 days. Not really interested when he does anything. It's just like, oh,
he's so exposed that like you know his life like the back of your hand. You
he bought a $1 million chain. Cool. If you see Donald Glover, Kendrick Lamar did a $1 million crown for his last album. You want to see that because you're like, when's the last time you seen Kendrick? Oh, he's got lots now.
Yeah.
You want to see the guy. You want to know what he's been up to. It has dropped an album in like 4 years. That builds up anticipation. But most importantly, you come up when you have something to say. A lot of times people just want to be, they love the attention so much, so they just do any random stuff just to have people have eyes on them.
And that way, how you just put it, makes me think back to that interview I wanted to end it on, which was the Kobe Bryant interview on Jordan Harbinger. 250K, I think, views, and it's been 4 years. And it's crazy to think that a crazy dancing video or a shooting video gets 30 million views. So for me, at the end of the day, this is my, token of advice for everybody else. Don't always think that because this thing here has the most views that it's the most worthy piece of information that you have to consume. Sometimes the best things are the ones that very few have seen.
10 views, man. So for whatever random reason, I watch the most random stuff on YouTube sometimes.
Yeah, we all do. That's the algorithm.
Sometimes people are just you take the remote, you always find something interesting to watch. I don't know how somehow I end up on Strange Things Caught on Camera. So you got people taking up, but I also, even though I'm watching something with entertainment, so I always try to keep it balanced.
Yeah.
I can spend 2 hours watching some random stuff, nothing to do with anything, but I gotta learn something.
Yeah, that's true.
So even though it's fun, something really interesting, it also shows the type of schemes that people come up with to try to get in your home. So you got people coming knocking on your door. Oh hey, I came to pick up my laptop. It's like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I did to search my iPhone thing, and it says my MacBook is here. And he's like, listen, you gotta get out of here before I call the cops. And then you look at stuff like that and you go, it sounds like something made up, something from a movie.
Yeah, it does.
But really and truly, that could have been someone elderly inside who, you know what, I don't understand what you're saying. Let me come to the door.
It's true.
And then now all of a sudden you break in and you hurt the person, you rob. But these stuff happens literally daily. Especially if you're someone who might live by yourself.
It's true.
So it's just I'm watching this random stuff, but really and truly, I'm educating myself. Type of stuff people do. They say they'll come by your house with construction stuff on.
Yeah, trying to fit the car. They're trying to wear a coat.
I'm working in the area. I need access to such and such.
I need to use your washroom.
I think that's the one that got me though. Yeah, can I use your bathroom? It's 3 a.m. It's I don't know who's more crazy. If that person let them in, or that person trying to get you someone to washroom at 3 a.m.
So next time someone ever has that, you're not gonna open the door. Just remember to ask, is it number 2?
No. I don't care what number you got.
Bro, if they say number 2, I'm saying no. If it's number 1, I'd say piss outside. That's why I said that.
I don't even want you to number 1. So make sure y'all keep safe. Peace. Look out for one another, of course. Share the keys, share the code, share the information. You gotta stop being selfish because if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever.